Live.
Hi. Oh my god.
Is it working?
Hello, everybody. Yes. Let me see. We're just trying to get over some technical issues because, yeah, internet doesn't like us today at all. Oh my gosh. Let me just check if it's actually working. Is it working? Can I see myself? Hi. Oh my god, it's working.
We win. We won something.
Yay! We did it. I'm so happy. Oh my gosh. So, pardon?
I said my day job is in tech and we still couldn't figure this out.
Oh my gosh. Maybe do you want to try wearing headphones? Because I don't know what happens, but when it goes live, it goes strange. I don't know. Do you have headphones?
Find headphones. Good question. We are totally prepared.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't know what's going on.
This is so professional.
I know. What's she gonna do? Oh well. Everybody, we're human. You know, oh well. Okay, well let's just try it. Alright, so we're gonna talk about plotting and pantsing, and first of all I would like to say thank you so much for coming on my blog and bearing with me with this trying time that we're having.
We'll get it sorted eventually.
Eventually. Oh my gosh, the internet's going so funny. Oh
no, don't let it.
Okay.
Yell at it.
Let's just persevere, and maybe we can try something else after this if this doesn't work. Oh my god. All right. So one thing that I noticed when we were talking about this the other day, pantsing. Where does that come from? What the hell? Like that name.
I don't know how it got started, but I just know it's from the phrase like riding by the seat of your pants, like just kind of like it's an idiom. I don't know.
Like I always, was told and like talked about it as like being the organized and disorganized writer.
Right, I've heard that too. And then there's also organic writing.
Yeah, and yeah, when I heard pantsing, I'm just like, what is this thing that people are doing with their pants? Like, I don't know. It's just weird, but just for everyone out there who eventually watches this. So pantsing is when you don't make an outline, you don't plot and plan your writing, you just do it. Whereas, plotting is just, plotting. And Brianna's going to be talking for pantsing and I'll be talking for plotting. Yay.
And we will meet in the middle and figure out a compromise.
Absolutely. Because, I think, there's no real rules to writing and, it just suits whatever people want to do, really. Like, it's what they like and what works for them. So, I don't know. I've tried both. So, I don't know. So do you want to?
I tried to share the Hangout link on Twitter with everyone, and it's in Spanish. No idea why.
We're having a really good day, aren't we? We're having such a good.
Yeah. I speak Spanish, but I'm not really sure what is going on with that. So if you see, oh well, whatever. Anyway, there's that link there. If anyone sees it.
All right. Well, I'll share it because.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Where is it? Technology is so great today. Really great.
It really is.
Really.
What a fascinating modern world we live in.
I know, and to think that, I work with computers. Not that I'm ever any good at computers, but like it's just, I don't know. I build websites
too, and I'm not any good at this either today. So.
Oh well. I don't know. Hopefully we'll have better luck some other time. I don't know. Anyway, do you want to start off with why you like pantsing, and then I can rebut?
I feel like this is going to be the most civil sort of debate ever because we're not really like yelling at each other or anything.
I know.
But I mean, pantsing, I I've always been a pantser. I've always been sort of an organic writer. When I used to write, like way back in the day when I was about 10, 11 years old, I didn't really have the patience to sit down and write an outline. And I guess I've just never really changed from that. I've tried outlining before. I've tried a couple different techniques, and none of them have worked for me. I find when I try to outline, what happens is either I feel like it's a school assignment and I'm done with school, so I don't want that again, or I plot it so heavily that I feel like I feel kind of constrained, and I feel like I've already done the heavy lifting, so what's like writing is just sort of repeating it.
Yeah. Well, for me, like, as I said, I've done the whole pantsing thing, and like I have like a graveyard in my computer where all the books have gone to die because they just never took off, because I always forgot like where I had like a great idea and I didn't write it down, and it just died off. And like, say if I had like a really busy week and I couldn't write that week, and then I'd be like, I had such a great idea where this was going, and now it's gone, and then I just get demotivated, and then that's the end of that book.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. I mean, that's probably whenever I get blocked, it's because I don't know where I'm going next, which is a problem. But like you were saying, how you have like a graveyard of books, all the books that I've stopped because I tried to outline them, and then I guess I just
really?
That's really interesting.
So funny. Yeah, no, like that's hilarious. All my life, I did the exact same thing. Like I just wrote without planning, and doing that technique, I did finish one book when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's about it. And since then, I haven't finished one. I've always got like a quarter way through or that way. And then it's only like really this year that I properly started planning, and it's like, whoa, took off, and it's gone crazy. Like my productivity has just skyrocketed really, really good, really well. Yeah.
Well, when you say you started properly planning, do you mean like you found a particular method? Like, is there any kind of method out there that you would recommend, or did you just kind of make up your own?
I just made up my own, to be honest. Like, I sort of just started writing down in dot points. Like my whole plot is just dot points, and it's about 5 pages worth of dot points about what's going to happen. And I broke it up into beginning, middle, end. And then I just write the most, like what I want to happen, and then how I get exactly to those places is up to me. Okay. So it's sort of like a mix between, I guess it's a mix between both, but it's mainly plotted down because I know where I'm going exactly. And before I sit down to write any scene, I plan out the scene as much as I can. Okay. And then, I write, do I even have it here? No, I don't. But mainly say like, we're in a town, they meet at the inn, they meet these characters, this is what was said, and blah, 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 blah. And then just all the pretty imaginary stuff, I fill it in as I go along to meet those dot points. And that's how I plan out my scenes. So I know where it's going, and I rarely get writer's block because I sort of get it that way. If I do get writer's block, it's mainly because how does that place look like exactly? Right. Other than that, that's how I work. Yeah.
Okay. See, I like a method like that. That's more appealing to me because you've got the big picture stuff, but not necessarily, it sounds like you still leave a little wiggle room, which I like. Every other method.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Every other method I've tried has just been, I guess, way too confining. So if I were to try plotting, I think I would have to find a balance like that. Yeah. Where you don't get lost, but at the same time, if you change one here or there, you're fine.
Absolutely. Like, also, like, at the moment, I'm reconsidering my whole entire book, not as a book itself, but if I want it to be a duology or a trilogy, and how on earth I can do it, because now I'm kind of getting really way over the word limit of a normal book. And I'm like, okay, something needs to give here. And also like a structure doesn't have to be completely solid. Like, I have a section in my book which is a part of my subplot, and that's where the main and the subplot converge. And I'm thinking, I've always had that part set pretty much from when I started writing this book. I knew that's exactly the way it was going to converge. But now I'm thinking, you know, maybe I do need to change that and try to think of something different, you know? So it's plotting. It's not exactly like, you don't have to stick with it if you don't want to.
Right.
You know, you can change it as much as you want. But, yeah, like, I don't know. I find that my way, like, it gives me the freedom to do what I want, but then at the same time, it's like I know where I'm going, so I don't have to, like, I have a goal to work towards. That's kind of, I'm a very goal-orientated person. I need targets to hit, otherwise I just drift in the water. Like, I just,
And I guess, I mean, I tend to have that stuff in my head, just not so much written out. But you're right, it does become a problem if I, say, take a break from the project or get distracted, because then I don't always know where I'm going next.
So do you carry, like, a notebook around as well, or do you just
I do. I have a little, and it's not over here, I don't think. Yes, it is. I have a little notebook that has, like, all the little plot points I think of during now. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm realizing I probably do outline, but I do it as I go, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's still, you know, doing it. Like, what is it? Isn't that the author, like, Pierce Brown? He put, like, on Instagram a picture of what he actually does for planning, and it's literally like an arc like this, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like, how do you do that? You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think
I have to look that up. You said Pierce Brown?
Yeah, I think it's like Red Rising. He's the author of Red Rising. Yeah.
It's a great book.
I haven't read it yet. It's on my iPad to read.
It's so good. You should read it.
I really want to. Have you read Red Queen? Like, they say that it's the same.
No, I really need to read Red Queen. Will tell me to read it. And I've just been, like, so busy, but I need to make the time and sit down because I really want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it and I didn't like it. I just thought it was too action heavy and it didn't have much characterization in it at all.
Yeah, that's been a troubling trend I've noticed in a lot of literature lately, a lot of young adult literature.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all about the action and not about the actual characters. I don't know, it's strange. But I think, like, I don't know if this is sort of a pantsing kind of thing, but I don't know, like, I find it hard if you're pantsing to actually do proper characterization because you're just writing it on the fly. You're not actually sitting there and deeply, deeply thinking about you know, or am I wrong about that?
That's funny to me because I feel like pantsing helps me with my characters, but I approach writing very psychologically. So it could just be that maybe that's why, like, I'm sort of writing stream of consciousness and I'm doing it from my protagonist's point of view. So
but doesn't that sort of, like, as you're just writing it, doesn't it sort of make you skim across the thought of, like, who they are and, like, how they differentiate from the other characters and, like, you know, how to make their voice different from other characters just as you're writing it, you know? Like, I think it could get confusing. That's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely can sometimes. It's tough. I am lucky in that before I switched over to being an English major in college, I was a psych major. So I have, like, a lot of insight into the mind and personality and all of that. And I kind of just keep that in here as I'm writing.
Yeah.
And so usually before I start writing, I've been like, all of my books and everything, I start with a character. Usually I get the idea for the character before everything else. So by the time I sit down to actually write the book, I've been thinking about this character and this voice for, like, weeks. So for me, and, you know, I only write, like, single point of view novels. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. I'm sure if I tried to do multiple point of view novels, it would be different, but.
Yeah. I'm a third person writer.
Okay.
And, you know, I really have to think about, the way other people think and how to differentiate all these different characters, because like I have a lot of characters in my book, and I think, I don't think I've ever tried to write a first person. I don't think I have ever tried it, but I think I will. And I don't know, it just seems so confining. I don't know. I don't know. It's just
I mean, I write third person. It's just very it's third person limited, and it's like very close, I guess. Like it's a deeper point.
Okay. Yeah. So. All right, sure. Okay, so it's like third person. Yeah. I've read books like that. They're good. I like those ones much better than the first person. I don't know.
First person's good if it's done really well, but it's kind of just become a trend now, and I've read a couple books where it didn't work for me. I think you have to be careful with that, just like with anything else.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I don't know, like, I read here on your points that, you find that pantsing sort of leads you to where your, story's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And that structuring it sort of doesn't feel like, your character's in charge or something.
Yeah. I think because for me, at least in the past, when I've tried to plot, I've put down, just, okay, well, they need to be here, they need to be here, they need to be here. And then regardless of how my characters actually interact with each other, I'm like, well, he needs to get to the castle. And even though he just said that he doesn't want to go anywhere near the castle, that's what I have in my plot. So then I have to I feel like I'm forced to shove them into that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that
experience.
Sort of point of view before.
Maybe I'm just outlining way too rigidly. Maybe I should just lean back a little bit with it.
Perhaps I think that might be, because when I do that kind of stuff, I don't really just say, okay, this is how my story's going to go, this. I go, okay, so this character, this is the trigger that happens. We all start with that one trigger. And then I'm like, okay, so this event happens next because they do this. It's very character driven.
Right.
And so I don't write down, based on what they do. So, I wouldn't put, so I wouldn't put something down there if they wouldn't really do it. And, I just sort of try to do it based on their reactions and, cause and effect. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I love outlining. It's my favorite thing to do, because when I've written a scene or finished a chapter, I tick it off on my sheet, and I just slowly start to see, because I highlight them in blue if I've done them, and it just slowly gets bluer and bluer and bluer, and I'm like, I can see the light.
You don't do it in a Word document?
Yeah, on Word. Yeah, I do it in Word.
Oh, and then you just as you go, you'll highlight.
Yeah, I highlight them all, and I'm just and I've even got a board. Have I told you about my board?
No.
I've got this inspiration board, and it's a cork board, and I've put on string on a proper structure, and I've put on little tags on it, and it just says all my plot points and where it's gonna go, and I'm ticking that off, and I have it in my room, and it's got all my characters' pictures, and it's got all my location pictures.
Yeah.
And I just tick it off as I'm going, and I've done a proper structure arc, and I'm just making sure that it's the proper structure as well. Yeah. I love my board.
When you come up with plot points for your outline, do you do it on the structure as well? Do you figure out where it would fit there, or do you just kind of throw the
Well, to be honest, I did it in Word first. And then I thought this structure's cool, blah, blah, blah. And then I decided to put it on the corkboard, and I only put my main points on there. And I found that a lot of the scenes weren't in the proper section, in my actual Word document, which was good because it showed me where everything needed to go on the timeline of the story, and like it really helped me figure out like, you know, what exactly goes where and when should everything happen, especially like before, you know, if I left it where it was, it would probably be pretty crappy. Yeah. I think like
have you ever used Scrivener?
No, I haven't.
It has a corkboard feature like that, and you can type your plot points out on note cards, well, virtual note cards, and then you can move them around as needed. So like if you have a point toward the end that you really so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I just don't use Scrivener that often because I tend to play with it more than actually write in it. So
yeah, I can imagine that would happen to me as well. That's why I'm a bit like, maybe not. Everyone says that they love it, but then I'm like, I'd probably just play around with it because like I've got Evernote, and do you know what that is? Yeah, I've got Evernote. Yes. You know, I've got like my notebooks. I've got Word. Word's the best. I don't really think you need much else.
I use Word, and then I'm thinking maybe for my second draft, I might try to like move the stuff from Word to Scrivener, just because Scrivener will auto format things for KDP and create space. Cool. I don't think first drafting Scrivener would work for me because I'll just play around with it all day.
Yeah, no. First drafts, like you just need to actually get it down. Like that's the most important thing, for sure. So, okay, let me just see. So it feels more like art than work with pantsing.
Yeah, I think that's because that's partially my fault personally because, like I said, I tend to make outlines really rigid because that's how I've learned how to do them. And in school, in college, I would always outline all my essays. So I think I have like post-traumatic stress disorder flashbacks to that going on. Every time I sit down and make an outline, I just picture the essay and the grade, and it's probably just my technique, honestly, the more we talk about it. And I think it's interesting too because there's some degree of plotter in me as well as pantser, and it sounds like there's you know, a little bit of pantser in you as well with the organic moving between the plot points. So that's really fun.
No, like I think I totally agree with you. Like, you know, being a law student, I have to plan my essays and I have to write a lot, and I I write so much all the time, and even for work, like, you know, writing is what I do. Oh my God. And so I know what you mean. Like plotting can sometimes seem like a lot of work, but like to me, writing is work. Like, you know, it's enjoyable and stuff like that. So I think sort of like,
it's not hard.
I don't know. Yeah, it's still hard and it's work. So I think like, you know, you need to think of it as work.
Right.
I don't know. That's just my mentality. Like, cause I'm like, I don't know. I think that's just my personality because like I'm a kind of person that I need to get things done.
Right.
Or I don't get them done at all. There's no in between for me. Like I'm an adrenaline junkie for work only because I don't like jumping out of planes, but for work, like I work really well when I've got a deadline and when I've got tons of pressure on me. That's when I work my best.
Right.
And when I just don't have anything to do or no goal to work towards, I'm a bit like, oh, look, there's 4 episodes of like, you know, Orange is the New Black that I need to watch and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's,
that's why I set the tentative deadline for my first draft for Wednesday for my birthday. Which will be Thursday, cool. I guess.
Yep.
But, and I really want to watch Orange is the New Black, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I just marathoned it last night.
I'm dying. I really want to watch it, but I made myself promise. I even wrote it down. Like it's written down in here. I, Brianna Morgan, will not begin watching Orange is the New Black until I have completed current work in progress, Blood and Water. And then in parentheses, I have first draft only. And then I signed it. So I have a binding contract with myself.
You have, that's a good way to go about it. Oh my gosh. You are missing out.
Try that.
I think I will, because I want to get this draft done so badly. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like I've been just staring at it and looking at it and working on it for as many years. I don't even remember how many years it's been now.
Right.
And now that I'm just working on it, like I'm going to my grandparents' house in 2 weeks, and they live in the middle of nowhere country, New South Wales, and I'm just going to sit and just write because there's nothing else to do there. And so I'm really excited to do that.
Right.
And just write. Because I want to get it done. I want to get it done. And I just want to, I want the draft in my hands, the whole entire mammoth document that's going to be this big. But, you know. Oh my God. You're so lucky. You're going to finish yours so soon.
Maybe. God willing.
Do you have an ending?
What?
Do you have an ending?
Yes.
Yes.
I always have an ending. A beginning image usually, and then an ending. Sometimes I'm even lucky enough to get a beginning line, which is the best. That's what happened with this one. I got a beginning 2, 3 lines maybe, and then I had the ending. So I know what I'm working toward, but how to get there. So.
Yeah.
There's been some children running around behind you, so that's
amazing. Let me just have a look at this. So I think we talked about that. So you don't like it because you think it makes for easy procrastination, huh?
Yeah, because I will, but again, that's me. I like making lists, and I will, which list, but I don't outline. But anyway, I'll just I feel like I would just start outlining. Like, I don't want to write. Let me just outline. And then I would just keep adding things, probably.
I don't know, like, my outlining I don't think it really took that long, because as I was writing the outline, I realized, oh, this could happen. And then triggering this could happen. And it didn't take that long. And then the only thing that I find, actually, you know, when I said that I write my scenes first, like I plot my scenes, each individual scene, I find that has actually helped me become quicker in writing my you know, chapters, because I don't sit there and just stare at the screen and go, happening.
Yeah.
What is happening? Yeah. So I don't know, like I find, you know, it helps me so much. I think you just got to find like a good medium of what's good for you. And then, you know, just play around with it. Because, like, I think that everyone thinks, like, you know, if you have to plan, you have to be strict with yourself and, like, blah, blah, blah. But it's really up to you. I mean, some of my, like, plots and points actually do have dialogue in it. Some of them are chunks this big. But, you know, I also interlace it in different colors with, you know, foreshadowing and all this stuff where I've got to do this and foreshadowing and, you know, what else? You know, sneaky points that I know that I'm going to put in there subtly that come up later.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny, because a lot of when I go to edit, a lot of my editing involves like, oh, I should foreshadow this. So then I'll but it sounds like, you know, with your method that you wouldn't have to do that, because you'd have some of that already in place. Like,
I think that I definitely do have to do that, but I think it would just make it easier for me to sort of know where I kind of need to start putting it there, and then I can either accentuate it or turn it down during the editing part. And, you know, I think during structuring, like, you can't really know exactly everything the way it's going to plan out. Like, there's just no way, because, you know, the story and the characters are so alive. They get away from you and they start to tell you what they want to do and not what you want to do. And I think like there's so much that you discover. Like, sometimes I'm writing and I'm like, how the hell am I coming up with this? It's like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, and then, you know, you say stuff like that to people who don't write and they think you're crazy, but it definitely happens.
Like, I've got this, like, my Facebook page is like full of my Facebook friends, and you know, when I start talking about writing, I just sound really insane.
Oh yeah. That's the only way to
Like,
do it, really.
I know, but like it's so funny how only other writers can understand what
Right.
you're going through and not think you're insane, because they're like, yes, I totally get you, but it's like, you know, I was just watching my characters do this in my head the other day. It's like, are you normal?
None of us are normal. Normal's relative.
I know. I really don't think it is. I don't know, but yeah, I like the fact that you have a notebook. So like, how exactly, if like, because I'm just wondering, like, how do you go about writing your book? So like, what exactly do you do? What is your pantsing technique? Because like, you know, you've got a notebook, you write lists, but like, how do you actually go about it properly to make the pantsing effective? So I do want to try it one day. I think I will try it like on a short story, and I just want to know how to do that.
Well, I spend a lot of time thinking on the characters, and like I said, before I even start, I usually have a lead character in my head, and I've sort of heard his or her voice over and over and over again, to the point where I feel like I have a good idea of who they are. And then occasionally I'll just be like going through my work day or whatever, and I'll come up with a character detail, and that's when I like write it in here. So I just kind of have that in the back of my head. I think the hardest part with pantsing is you have to be with your book every day. You have to write every day, because
you have to.
Yeah, it has to be in there. If I skip a day, like I have to go back in and reread. But rereading does usually help me get motivated, and then I can pick up. But like, yeah, you can't take days off, or I can't at least take days off, or I will lose where I was going.
Yeah, no, I find like when I do my essays, I actually had one recently, and I was just writing, and like I didn't really properly structure it, and then, you know, I thought of a really great paragraph to write about, like, what was it, civil arbitration law, and then I just I wrote it. Somebody distracted me, and then I just could never remember the beautiful turn of phrase that I wrote it in. So I think and then I'm just like, it just does not sound as nice as what I had before, but I can't remember what I said. Like, is it something sort of like that?
Yeah, it is. And it's funny, I tend to come up with my titles just when I'm doing other things. And I came up with a title for Blood and Water, like
washing the dishes.
There's a scene. Yeah, probably. Cut myself shaving in the bathtub, you know, blood on.
Oh yeah.
No, that would be terrible. I had the idea for this scene that happens toward the end of the novel. It's a scene this line is in, and it's I don't know if you probably cannot see it. I don't know. Everything was blood and water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came up with that, and I have had it written down. I still haven't put it in the novel yet. I haven't gotten to that point, but I know exactly what scene it's going to be in, and every time I look at it, like, all that just comes in. So I don't know. It is definitely harder to pants, I will say that.
Is it bad that after all these years I still can't come up with a name for the book that I'm writing? Like, I've
heard
they are, and like, I've been trying to think of something, and this one name keeps coming in my head, but I like it, but then I don't like it, and it just, that's the only name that I call it by, and I don't want to call it that. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
I like to name mine, well, yeah, I like to name almost everything of mine after a noun. So like Blood and Water, I have a short story called Teacup. I have a short story called Glue. I don't know why. I'm just a noun person, I guess.
I really like short, sweet titles. Yeah. Like, I think like 2, 3 words, 4 words max. And then I've seen other titles which have like, I've seen a title of 10 words. And like, I don't know. I don't like titles with really long. And mine's really long. Yeah.
Titles are so hard.
It is.
I'm going to have Okay, I'm really obsessed with Gatsby. I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure everyone will.
Yes, I have.
Have you heard some of the alternate titles for The Great Gatsby? Because they're terrible.
What are they?
Okay, there's On the Road to West Egg.
No.
Trimalchio and West Egg. I don't know who Trimalchio is. I should know. The High Bouncing Lover.
Yeah, that's worse.
Gold Hatted Gatsby.
No.
There's also Among the Ash Heaps and Millionaires, which might have worked, but it's like
too long.
It's such a long title for such a short book.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, like I don't think it would, like, The Great Gatsby. It grabs you.
That's all you need. You're like, who's Gatsby and why is he so great? Like,
exactly, it makes you want to read it. But if it's like Among the Ash Heaps and the Millionaires, you're like, yeah, that might be interesting.
I know.
I don't know.
So,
but yeah, I kind of, yeah, the titles are hard. I don't know. I really, really want something great for it because I love my book. I don't know. I'm obsessed with it.
That's good. You should be.
I've been obsessed with it for years. Like, how do you get ideas? Because, like, when I get an idea, it's right in front of my face every second of every day until I write it down. Like, it just does not leave me alone. The people are just doing their thing and just,
right.
It drives me insane.
That's good. I think that if you're a writer, I think that should happen to you. If it doesn't happen to you, I don't want to say you're not cut out to be a writer, but you might want to think about it. Yeah. Make sure you're in it for the right reasons because, like, I mean, even when writing's really hard, I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Like, even when it's really hard, there's still nothing I would rather be doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I have done, like, other jobs before, like, and, when you're sitting at your desk at work and you're doing all these mundane things, all I can think about is going home and writing and why I'm not writing that second. It's all I want to do. All I want to do. Just took me so long to bloody think of it. I wish I actually knew that this is what I wanted to do because I always thought it was a hobby back when I was, like, in high school.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
So now it's like, maybe I should have thought about it a little bit more instead of doing law.
Well, I did English, and I'm still not a full-time writer because I have to make a living, and I've always been very particular with my finances. So if I ever went full-time as a writer, I think that would be my biggest struggle is being worried about not knowing where your next paycheck will come from. Yeah.
See, I thought about that as well. Like, I'm still going through this now because, I'm graduating finance this semester. Yeah, and then next semester. Well, technically it's this semester, but the hat and everything's next semester. Mm-hmm. And then a year from now I have graduating law, and I don't really know where to go from there. So, if I should work in finance, not that I want to work in law, but maybe I'll be forced to because that's the only experience that I have working in law firms, So it's, people say that it's better to write and work, but I think it would be awesome to be a full-time writer.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't mind my job right now. And, I've learned a lot from it. One day I would like to write full time, but I can definitely see the benefits of staying employed and writing because I don't have to worry about getting this book out quickly so I can, like, pay my mortgage or anything because I have a business.
That's very good. Yeah. I don't know. I think, like, no matter what I do, even if, I don't publish my book now or ever, but I'll still write and, I'll still be working. So I don't think it really matters. We'll just see where it goes. Like, I don't think there's any real line that anybody needs to be a full-time writer to be considered a writer or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are so many writers who just, that are published who just write on the side. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't worry.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, like, do you have any other comments about, pantsing and plotting and stuff like that? Because I think we covered pretty much everything. We covered, like,
a little bit of everything else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we covered characterization. We did, structure. Oh, yeah, maybe a bit more about structure. Like, how do you know you're doing the right structure?
I read a lot. I read a lot, which is important as a writer. So I think there's a certain amount of structure that just kind of is ingrained in me. I do find when I do my read throughs that I more or less have developed a structure. Just, again, I don't know if it has to do with me writing as much as I have, or taking so many creative writing classes, or what. But sometimes I do have to go in editing, sort of move things around to accommodate structure. But again, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind editing. So
I love it.
Yeah. So my first draft tends to be like a big info dump, and then editing is when I clean it up. In my editing, it sounds like I do a lot that you do, like first draft. So
yeah,
I don't know.
So I think,
I don't know what else to say.
Like, I think just, I don't know, for advice in relation to plotting, like for anybody who's watching and thinking about, plotting, it also has a lot to do with organization. And, it doesn't just mean, like, for me, plotting and being like an organized writer, it's not just plotting for me. It's setting a word count every single day. It's going over your structure all the time to make sure that, it's actually, going where it's actually supposed to be going, despite, you've actually outlined it. You can, go off course. And,
you need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, like, also, the story can develop away from what you've actually originally thought it was going to be. Like, when I first started writing this book, I wrote it as a pantser. So the first 40 pages are, completely different to what I'm actually doing now.
Right.
So I think, like, you can give yourself room, and you got to double check that you're still going on what your line of thought throughout the whole entire book. Like, I organize all the time, and I have to write every day, but, like, during exams I can't do that, but I always do. And I have, like, a word count that I stick to for each month as well. Right. So I think it's just organization. It's all encompassing, definitely, for plotting. And I think, some people, they just, it might be restricting for them, but I think it's flourishing for me, and I have never written more than I have now doing plotting.
Right. Yeah. And the important thing with either method, with whichever method you choose, is that you get the work done. So if plotting works for you, by all means, keep doing it. If pantsing is working, again, there's no need to change just because maybe you feel like everyone else is doing it or whatever. I recommend giving both of them a shot, especially if you've never tried one. I mean, I think Shelly and I both said that we've tried both methods, and we both see the merits in each of them. So
absolutely.
I think it's worth it to try, but don't feel pressured to commit to one or the other just because someone says you should. Stick with whatever works.
Yeah. Also, like, there's no rule saying that you can't mix them both together.
Oh, yeah.
Create a hybrid of, plotancing or something like that. Like,
plotancing cocktail.
Yes, exactly. So, you don't have to, just make it up as you go along. Like, there are no rules. Just do whatever suits you and, try both. Absolutely, for sure. Do you have any advice for, getting the most out of your pantsing?
I mean, I have a couple tips. Definitely, like I said, if you plan to pants, you should write every day. Even if you're not writing every day, at least go through and look at your book every day so that it's like marinating in your head as you go through your routine. And oftentimes when you, like, if you don't feel like writing, if you just through and read what you've already written without editing, don't edit yet, just read it.
Never.
Like after you read through, you might find that you feel motivated to add some words. And I also recommend knowing your ending, or at least having some idea of your ending, so you know ultimately what you're going to work toward, whether you're going to have a happy ending or a sad or ambiguous ending. That way you can sort of know the tone for the entire novel before you get started and save yourself a lot of heartache in that respect.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say for that, because I mean, pantsing doesn't have a lot of rules. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true. Okay, everybody. Well, do we, I don't think we had any real questions, but I think like people have been saying mainly that they're pantsers, that I've talked to, and that's really cool. Like, whatever works for you, and keep going with it. Everybody just keep writing, and I think get your stuff out there. Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to me, Brianna, and I hope everyone really enjoyed that. I'm so sorry for all the technical difficulties
we got it working
that we have had today. Yes, I still see the live in the corner, so I just keep checking that going. I hope nothing has happened to it, but yeah, thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.